welcome back to the K75. So is this legal? Is riding around with these markings on this bike legal? Is it allowed within the rules? The short answer is no. No, it's not. The long answer is still no, but it involves diving into the Road Vehicles Lighting Regulations 1989. Now, I'm not going to quote from the Act, but I've read through it. I'll put a link in the description if anybody's actually interested in the source material. The relevant points are that this reflective material is classed as a lamp. So any of this, well, what they call retro-reflective or highly reflective material like this, that's classed as a lamp under these regulations. This blue, in particular, is reserved for police use. And the most important point is that the only colour allowed on the side of a vehicle is amber or yellow. Got an example here, this sort of thing. These reflective tapes are good examples of what is allowed under the regulations. This amber colour for the sides and this red reflective for the rear. You are allowed different colours on the front, but again, still not blue. Incidentally, the XT here is a good example of getting the colours just right, with the yellow on the side of the bike and a big red sticker on the big red reflective sticker on the back. Talking of conspicuousness, I will paint the panniers something other than NATO green at some point, probably white. The essential point then, under those regulations, the only colour you're allowed on the side there, like I say, is amber, and then they make exemptions for emergency vehicles, like this type of blue for police and a reflective green for medical and so on. The upshot is then, all this has got to come off. I might put some of this tape on afterwards, I might not, but we'll peel these off. Now, remember, these were bikes for filming and they were originally black, so this white paint may not be particularly well applied. What I'm saying is it might come off with the stickers, but we'll find out. And one last point, all those rules I mentioned, they cover the vehicle, not the rider. So what you're actually wearing, that's a different matter entirely. Pity in a way to be taking these off, but I just think, on the other hand, you can imagine if I'd seen a road accident with it all dressed up like this, people would be expecting me to do something about the traffic or whatever, wouldn't they? The next thing I want to do is to remove the fuel tank and drain out the old fuel that's in there, which has probably got water in it, and change the fuel filter which is in the fuel tank.
This paintwork's in very good nick, normally, isn't it?
Well, considering it was only temporary.
Yeah, I say, very good nick. Can't see a lot wrong with it.
So there's one fuel line there, and then there's the other one there. There we go. So we've got some stuff at the bottom, it's like jelly.
Jelly?
I suspect it's from having the alcohol in the fuel. So you can see why I'm not going to reuse it. So there's the fuel filter we've got to replace. Down in the corner of the tank there. See, that doesn't look, well, it's not even clear. So can you see there all that stuff that doesn't look like petrol? It's like pea soup, doesn't it? I'll have to suck it out.
On the container, put it in. Shit on the bottom there, look. And the other side. Left side, left and right.
That's much better, as it, you know, I'm much happy with that now. I'm glad we did that. So much stuff that came out there that wasn't petrol.
Yeah.
In this box I've got all the things I need to do a proper major service on the bike, and I'm just going to work through them bit by bit. I've also got this is the mirror that came with the bike, And I got a second-hand one to replace the missing one on the is it on that? Yeah, on the right hand side. Obviously this is the wrong colour, and this one's a bit beaten up as well, so I'll just spray both of these with a spray can with white paint, and that'll do. While the tank's out, it'll be nice and easy to do the fuel filter, which is buried in there. So we'll sort that out. While the tank's off, I'll sort out the air filter. Then we can put it all back together, start it up, run it for a bit, and drain the oil, and put clean oil in it, along with a nice new oil filter. I've also got some new spark plugs, a whole load of seals and such that go with the sump plugs. This C-spanner is for adjusting the suspension, but it's also the dipstick for the gearbox. So that won't be needed just yet until we do the transmission oils. Right. One thing I noticed on this tank was a bit of bubbling down here. Now that could just be trapped water from the dodgy paint job on the tank, but it's more likely actually to be porosity in the aluminium tank. Highly recommend carrying around JB Weld on the onboard toolkit of any vehicle, and keep it in the workshop. It's fantastic stuff. Obviously not sponsored or have any kind of affiliation with them, but it is the only epoxy I've come across that's rated for high temperatures. We used to use it to repair cast iron radiators. Something like Ironthumper, which is great epoxy in its own right, and it certainly has its place. Ironthumper softens at 70 degrees and above. So this will just fill up any porosity that's there, and because I've keyed the surface, it should grip pretty well. I'm just going to smooth it down with some water. Good. Right, I'll let that harden off. While that's drying, or curing, I suppose, I'm trying to extract the air filter. So there's a clip down there. God. There. Oh, that way up. Obviously, this is not a guide on how to do a major service on a BMW K75. I will link to a guide. There's a good one out there on YouTube. This is not it. Another thing I can do is to repair the number plate. So it's got a bit of damage on the corner. Now I've looked this up, and because it doesn't affect the legibility of the numbers and letters, it should be acceptable for an MoT. You can super glue this. Open that up. Nice new battery that's been on charge for a few hours. Well, 24.
Some put a little grease around it.
I'm just about to do that.
Okay.
Just about to do that. That's what's in that tube.
Is that strapping or just sits in it?
It should have a strap, really.
Hey?
It should have a strap, really.
That little frame that dropped. What's this little frame there then? I know. But what you do, a lip on the top.
Now put a plate across. $197 centres then.
Good job. That's nice and firm. I won't come on the back today.
The plan now is to get the wheel off and basically get this unit out, and then I can withdraw the prop shaft, which is inside this tube here, and grease it up with the special spline grease.
It's dry then, there's no grease in it.
There's grease at both ends, but not enough. So that's what it should look like, with this special white grease, and it's on the splines. But someone's done this end at some point, but they've used...
It's been off, you reckon?
Yes, it must have done, because this isn't the factory grease, it should be white. So they've used the wrong grease, and that's why it's in a puddle down there, see? It looks like they haven't pulled this out before, because that's the original grease, but someone's just done the end of it without pulling this out.
You've got to line up there with them speakers, yeah?
Yeah, it's going to be tricky.
That's a good job.
Be careful not to touch the disc. Okay. Hang on. Well, that's probably enough. That's it. Two. That one. That's it.
That's it.
That's it, yeah. Just got to fill it with oil now. One. That's it, that's the service done. Well, it's my version of the service done. There's still, I will change the coolant at some point and check the clearances, but to make it roadworthy, we've done enough. Since bringing this bike home then, we've cleaned it, we've replaced the missing bits, given it a full service, basically recommissioned the thing. It's now time to take it for an MoT test and see what somebody else thinks of my work. I would say wish me luck, but we've been through the whole checklist, so really we shouldn't need any luck. Although there's always a chance of missing something, isn't there? This will also be my first chance to give it a proper run out, so that will be interesting, just to see what this is like, but to see what it's like in comparison to the XT as well. It's a very different beast, I know that much. Here we are back home again, and with a nice fresh MoT. Clean pass, no advisory. Excellent. So my first impressions of riding this thing, having got it up to a sensible speed on a main road, it's utterly different to the XT. It's less fun, and the XT accelerates quicker, and this thing at low speed is as ungainly as you'd expect it to be. But once you get going, oh crikey, it's a totally different story once you get over 40-50 miles an hour. This thing is just so smooth, and it corners beautifully, and the tram lines in the road, it barely notices them. But just as I hoped for then when we started out with this, it turned out to be a very short project. I'm very happy with my bargain bike, and I can see myself doing some serious mileage on it, and maybe I'll film some of those adventures. Anyway, that's it for now. Cheers.